Here I am with my mom, and we thought it would be important to record kind of the story of the Florine family. And so I'm going to ask my mom, this is the first time I've kind of heard the story in this way about how PKD affected her family.
We were a big family. This is a picture of my family taken when I was probably about 10 years old. And my oldest sister, Charlotte, went on to medical school. She had always wanted to be a doctor, and when she was in medical school, she got a kidney infection and discovered she had polycystic kidneys. So she called back home and to ask Mom and Dad if they had any problems. And my mother said, well, no, they didn't have kidney problems, they had heart problems, that her family had died from heart problems. Well, in the end, it turned out that my mother's line had polycystic kidneys. My mother got very ill, and I was 12, and in rural states like Iowa, the big medical place that you go to is the big universities. So, and since my sister Charlotte had been at the university, she had already gone, however, my mother was sent to the University of Iowa and for diagnosis. And they said she was in renal failure, and they sent her home to die, literally and figuratively. And she came home, and that was her choice to come home. She didn't want to stay in the hospital, and she died at home.
She'd been sick how long?
She'd been sick at least a good month, month and a half. Probably, when they sent her from Iowa City, she probably had no kidney function at all. But she had been an active farmer's wife. My father was actually in the wallpaper and paint business, and because of such a big family, we had moved to a farm, and we're farmers. The major money came from the wallpaper and paint business, but the farming kept us alive, because my mother did all kinds of canning and butchering, and so we ate well. And my mother was a very active woman. My oldest sister Charlotte, then Johnny. She had polycystic. Johnny had a cranial aneurysm. Lucille was a nurse. She also was on dialysis. Bobby was a farmer. He was on dialysis. Gladys is the one we think who does not have polycystic kidneys. Bonnie is the one who had the cranial aneurysm. She was a nurse and then became a nurse anesthetist. Della was a teacher and taught Army personnel as well and had children. And she died from a cranial aneurysm. My brother Tommy, myself, and I was, at this time, I was probably about 10 or 11 because my mom died when I was 12. So the picture was taken at least a year or two before she died.